Shanti Shanti.
This verse is very important. So far this illustration we have been discussing about the individual sadhana, that how we are engrossed with the world objects, the world situations, and governed by our likes and dislikes, how we are slave to the world situation, we are always getting affected, worried by the world situation, and how looking at the real identity, how with that goal we finally attain and discover our real identity, which is unaffected, unchanging, immortal. Now this illustration can be further expanded and applied to the societal dimension, or even you can say the business dimension. Because what is happening in our globe, it's not only our country but the entire global society. What has happened after the Industrial Revolution, if we really look into it, we will find that the Industrial Revolution has given from there onwards the scientific and technological development. I am not criticizing the scientific and technological development. I am only criticizing our attitude and the way we have been eaten up by our own power. I want to point out that. After the Industrial Revolution, with the scientific and technological advancement, we have got so much of material power, material wealth and whatnot, that we have lost control over ourselves, we have lost control over the world. We have spoiled the whole world. The nature was, the human civilization has lived on this earth for thousands and thousands of years. Even before that also animal civilization have lived on this earth, and even now they are living. Nobody had spoiled the earth as we have done over the last 100 years, or even over the last 50 years we can say. The kind of, we have spoiled nature, we have spoiled ourselves, we have spoiled our society, everything has been spoiled because of this lopsided growth, because of this unbalanced material growth. Now what has happened is that as a society, also we can behave like that lower bird, not looking at the upper bird, or as a society, as a global society or a national or a country also, we can look at the upper bird and try to realize that dimension, and that dimension can be brought into the administration, business and all our prosperity in our societal level. We are so much preoccupied with this material growth and material property and wealth that we have ignored, we have disregarded the real ultimate aspiration of human civilization. We have not been able to be balanced in that. Because of short-term gain, we have neglected the long-term welfare of the society. Because of constricted selfish considerations of only a few people, we have spoiled the wider, large mass of humanity. We have exploited the large mass of humanity just because of selfish aim of becoming richer and richer of a few people, or you can say a country also. It can be like that also. So as a society also we can use this model where as a society we have to be careful about our anchor, our real identity. Otherwise we will always be going astray towards inauspicious growth, inauspicious development, towards destruction, as we say. The society cannot be oblivious of the higher aspirations of humanity. In India, for a very long period of time, although we had prospered very much in all the aspects of life, in art, culture, in education, in wealth also, it was the wealthiest country in the world. But even then, it had never lost its anchor in its real identity. The Upanishads are speaking about not only for in the Vedanta, the Upanishads, they have not given us only a foolproof spiritual sadhana where it will only lead us to auspiciousness, because often in spiritual sadhana also the seekers, they fall prey to various vibhutis, various powers and various egoistic attractions and repulsions. But Upanishads or Vedanta, they take us by hand, provided we follow them. They take us by hand to along a very safe path to the ultimate auspicious goal. There is no question of falling from there, here and there. It is not only the individual seeking that the Upanishads have dealt with, they have given a model for the entire humanity where the whole society will move towards an auspicious goal. It will be sustained. Not only the human society, the animals, nature, everything is involved, everything is included in the Upanishadic knowledge, that it provides a model of sustained social growth, a model of sustained society which will live for thousands of years without undergoing any destruction. That is how in our country we have the longest living civilization. People don't think about it. What has happened to Greek civilization, Roman civilization, or any other civilization in the world when we find this lopsided growth that people are given only to material growth, material prosperity, losing their anchor? The civilization has moved towards destruction. Whereas here there had always been, although there had been ups and downs in the civilization, there were such ups and downs in the civilization, but there were always this spiritual force which had brought the civilization back on the track of auspiciousness. That is why for any spiritual person, the only work they have to do is called loka sangraha. Loka sangraha means lokasya unmarga pravritti nivrityartham karma. If a society is left to itself, because of the selfishness of the people, because of various vociferous tendencies of the people, the society will move towards destruction. Because selfishness, violence in us will always create distortional forces, will always take us towards destruction. So our society may become very prosperous, but if this selfishness and violence, they are there in the mind, working in that, some king, some ruler, they will become notorious and the society will be led to destruction. This is what we find before Bhagavad Gita also. As Bhagavad Gita narrates that the kings had become corrupt and there was all round degeneration in the society. And Krishna says he is a most active person, an active knower in this world who has lived in this world. His appearance was to set right the society by instituting righteous rule. Because he, as he says, that our kings were Rajarshis. That means a real king, a good king, must have this knowledge of real identity, this knowledge of truth, to rule the country properly. And that was there in our country, but with time or as power corrupts, they got corrupted and it was in a very degenerated state before the Mahabharata war. Now Krishna says that his appearance was to bring back the society on the auspicious track. Any knower, saint, their only work is to bring back the society on the auspicious track. So this spiritual force is always working for bringing the individuals to their own anchor within, and also bringing the society on the auspicious track where all the individuals also will have their fulfillment and the society will be on a sustained path of growth where there won't be any disbalanced material emphasis. There will be a balanced emphasis on both. Remaining anchored in that auspicious path, they will have all the prosperity. That is the ideal model our visionaries have given, and that was being followed in our country, of which the very basis was the Gurukula system of education, which finally, later stages of Buddhist domination, was fully expressed as international universities also. They were huge they are huge international universities that Takshashila, Nalanda, Vikramashila, and so many others, about 5 or 6, where in Nalanda we have read that from Huan Sang's report that 2,000 teachers and 10,000 students were there. But see the ratio, it is 1:5, because the system was still Gurukula system. Teachers were not just, they have marked up some subject and they were teaching, it is not like that. Teachers were mostly the renunciate monks there, and who had made the knowledge their life, and with that they were teaching. The students also used to come with that kind of a dedication. Through that the education was propagated, and everywhere the kings used to value this education. That is how the whole country was given this kind of a sustained social model. Even the economic model also, if we go into it, we will find it was a sustained economic model which was there. We should go into all these things with further depth, and it is depending on the business leadership and administrative leadership to have the courage. We must have the courage to get back to that anchor, so that we are careful about the ultimate aspirations of people, the ultimate aspirations of the society, of the humanity, and for that whatever to be done. So there, this other bird, the impersonal bird sitting on the top, it is representing the core identity of the humanity, where the humanity will meet its auspicious goal. So this model of these two birds can be thought of in the social dimension and business dimension also. The social leaders, the business leaders should go well into it and see how this, as I said earlier, the centripetal force. I discussed a few days back sometimes that centripetal force and centrifugal force. The whole material attraction, repulsion, they are always creating centrifugal force. They are pulling our mind away from our real identity, away from our central core, our anchor. They are always pulling and pushing us. Our mind is always outward. So the whole world, the world objects are generating centrifugal force. I will again give the correction. It is not the world objects which are generating the centrifugal force. It is our ragadvesha, our likes and dislikes towards them, that is creating the centrifugal force. The objects will be there, but if you are freed of ragadvesha, then this centrifugal force will not be able to take away, it will not be there. We will not lose our anchor and be slave to the worldly objects. So the spirituality, the spiritual sadhana is to generate the centripetal force, to anchor us in our real identity, in our core identity. So although we will be interacting with the world, whatever interactions necessary we will do, but not losing touch with our anchor, not losing our anchor within, not losing the touch of the real identity. Remaining anchored in the real identity, we will interact with the world fully, whatever to be done. Similarly, in the society also, we have to see what are the social institutions or social forces which will generate the centripetal force. As in individual spirituality, the spiritual pursuit is generating the centripetal force which is keeping us anchored in our real identity, even in the interactional life. Similarly, in the social background, social dimension or business dimension also, we have to see, look into it, what are the principles which will generate the centripetal force in business, the centripetal force in society, which will keep them anchored to this auspicious path, keep them anchored to this auspicious goal. Then only we will have a sustained global society which will move towards auspiciousness. We have to think about it, and the social leaders, the business leaders will have to take very courageous step in it to move towards this. Otherwise, we are moving towards destruction. Nobody can help it. We are given too much of power which we don't know how to handle. Otherwise, like Bhasmasura, we will destroy ourselves. That Bhasmasura, you must be knowing that actually our Baba had told us this Bhasmasura story. It is there in many other places also. That Asura means they are given to Rajasic tendencies and Tamasic tendencies, but not led by the Sattvika tendencies. So the Asuras will do tapas, do austerities for gaining more and more material power and all. and often they will do many harmful things also. Now, this Asura had done very hard tapasya, austerity, and finally Shiva was pleased. Now he wanted a boon from Shiva by which if he puts hand on anybody, that person will completely burn off, will become ashes. That was his prayer. And Shiva was so pleased with his tapasya that in his own mood he had granted also. Now the moment he got the boon, this Asura wanted that you say that you have given me the boon, but I have to test it whether you have given me the boon properly or not. So let me test it on you. See, he wanted to keep his hand on Shiva's head. Now see, who has given you the power, you first want to destroy him. So that is why his name was given Bhasmasura. Now he wanted to put his hand on Shiva's head. Now the Puranic story goes like this, that Shiva started running. What can he do? Because he has given the boon that anybody on anybody's head he puts the hand, he will become ash. So he started running away from him, and Bhasmasura started running behind him. Shiva finally went to Vishnu, Mahavishnu, who is the sustainer of the world, because Shiva is destroyer of the world, but Mahavishnu is sustainer of the world. So he went to Mahavishnu and said that this is what has happened. So Mahavishnu said, oh, this is what you have done, you have given such a boon, but anyway, you hide here, let me see. By that time this Asura was following Shiva, so he also appeared in the same place. So Vishnu immediately said that he is looking for Shiva, where has Shiva gone, where has Shiva gone? He said, why are you looking for Shiva? No, he has given me a boon that wherever I keep my hand, he will become ash. To whomever's head I put my hand, he will become ash. So I want to test it. So immediately Vishnu said that why do you need anybody else? Test it, and he put his hand on his own head. Made him put his hand on his own head. That means on Bhasmasura's head. Immediately the Asura got destroyed. So the story is told in various ways also, in a little different form, but this is what it is, that if you give a certain power to a person who does not know how to handle that power, he will bring in inauspicious developments. And if you don't know how to handle it, he will get destroyed in the process. Yourself will get destroyed in the process. That is what is happening now about terrorism, etc. I don't want to go into the detail. This is what has happened. People have created terrorism and now they are suffering from it's like a boomerang, it is attacking the people who have created the terrorism. It is happening everywhere. So much of material power has been unleashed by this technological and scientific and technological growth, and it is going to be more and more with the advent of the computer and its great power and all. Finally we will find that we are not able to control ourselves. What is happening already we are in such a state. What is happening where we will not be able to understand anything. Finally the whole thing will collapse. So it is high time that our business leaders, scientific leaders, and the social leaders, they become courageous in this thought and take to a process where how we can generate the centripetal force in the society. As we often say that even the spiritual institutions or this spiritual talks, etc., whatever we conduct, the only purpose is to generate this centripetal force in the society. In personal level, we generate the centripetal force by pursuing the sadhana, and in the social level, in the national level, we try to generate this centripetal force by propagating this knowledge and also by instituting centers, ashrams, etc. They are supposed to be centers which generate centripetal force in the society. All of us should look at them in that manner. They have a great role to play in the society to save the society from destruction. See, that is why in Kathopanishad, before Yamaraja started the Brahmavidya instruction, he has mentioned all these things very well. There in the first part, second chapter, he has introduced with the concept of Shreyas and Preyas. maybe I have said earlier also. Shreyas means whatever is ultimately auspicious, ultimate auspicious, and preyas means whatever is immediately pleasurable but which may take us away from the ultimate auspicious goal, from the auspicious path. So preyas means immediately pleasant but will take us away from the auspicious path, and shreyas means it may not be immediately pleasant, sometimes it is bitter also, but it will take us to our ultimate auspicious goal. In saying that, we should always remember that why I said that shreyas may not be immediately pleasurable, it might be bitter also. It is extremely true, it is absolutely true, because any discipline initially we don't like it. Even a small boy, when we put him into studies, studying the alphabet and grammar and all, the boy doesn't like, he wants to play. So putting him into the discipline of studying letters, grammar, etc., the language, the boy will not like, but he will certainly like when out of this discipline he gets the freedom into the world of literature. He would like that freedom. So it has come, that ultimate pleasant situation of reading whatever books he wants, into the freedom into the world of literature, that comes out of the discipline which was not at all pleasant initially. So anything in any field it is like this, whether it's a field of music or field of sports or field of even politics, wherever you go, to have a proper development, a proper freedom, we have to undergo a discipline, and the harder is the goal, the harder will be the discipline also. So it may not be immediately pleasurable, generally it will be bitter initially. So Kathopanishad says, Anyat shreyo anyadutaiva preyaha te ubhe nanarthe purusham sinitaha tayo shreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati hiyate arthat yayu preyo vrinite. He says that shreyas and preyas, the world always coming, approaching us with two baskets in which there is shreyas and another there is preyas. We have to make our choice. You cannot say that it is destiny. We always say that spirituality says that everything is destiny. It is never so. Spirituality only, the whole purpose of spirituality is discipline, and it is to put our self-effort, that wherever we are, there is a way of elevating our life, going to a higher, reaching a higher goal, walking on the higher path, and for that we have to put our own self-effort, we have to choose our path. So we have to make the choice whether I opt for shreyas or I opt for prayers. The shloka says that those who opt for prayers, it might be immediately pleasurable, but finally they come away from the path of auspiciousness. And those who choose the shreyas in preference to prayers, they may have to face difficulties initially, but finally they are led to the auspicious goal. The next verse says, Shreyascha preyascha manushyametaha tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha shreyo hi dhiro bhipreyaso vrinite preyo mando yogakshemad vrinite. He says that when the shreyas and prayers, they arrive before us, a dhiraha, a person, wise person, who is given to think always with viveka buddhi, discriminatory power, what does he do? Tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha. Samparitya vivinakti dhiraha. He goes around the situation. That means not just, oh, it is pleasant, let me take it. Not like that. What will happen later? What are the things around? Why this situation has arisen? What are the pros and cons? Everything he goes around. Not only going around, he cuts it into pieces and looks threadbare into it, that what are the good things and bad things into it, and finally decides that what will take us to the shreyas. He always opts for the shreyas and rejecting the prayers. Whereas mandaha, those who are not wise, those who are given to only desires, satisfaction of sense, indulgences and other desires, they are manda buddhi, their intelligence is not led by the viveka buddhi, discriminatory power. What do? They always choose the prayers in preference to the shreyas. So they choose for what? Yoga kshemad vrinite. Here yoga kshema means yoga and kshema. Kshema means whatever possession they have, they don't want to lose anything from there, to preserve whatever they possess. And yoga means to add to their possession. So out of possessiveness they choose the prayers, not the shreyas. They're rejecting the shreyas, they choose the prayers out of possessiveness. So these are all guidelines given to us that either in individual life or in social life, what are the selections we have to make? And it is absolutely left to our self-effort, our judgment, our viveka buddhi, our discriminatory power, that which way we want to move. Are we moving towards destruction, or we would like to move towards the auspicious goal? According to that, we have to make choice.